Hello, I'm Cynthia Dusel-Bacon. I'm a geologist and a wife and a mother, and I'm also a bilateral upper extremity amputee. And today what you're going to see on this video are a series of ways that I do things that were filmed by my husband. This is just a home effort, amateur effort, to share some of my techniques of getting around my disability with other amputees and also with prosthetists. I was mauled by a bear when I was 31. That was 13 years ago now. And as a result of my injuries, I lost my right arm at the shoulder and my left arm halfway between my shoulder and my elbow. I'm lucky to be alive, and so that sort of set the perspective on which I viewed my life after my disability. It always could have been a lot worse. And after my accident, I tried to decide from talking with other amputees, congenital amputees who had no limbs and did everything with their feet. I learned from them, and I tried to decide whether or not I should use artificial arms or use my feet. And what I found works best for me is what I call a multimedia approach. And so today you'll see me doing things both with my artificial arms and with my feet. So I kind of use everything that I have, and some things work better one way than another. I think it's very important to be able to do as many things as you can as an amputee, to be independent and to live a life as close to normal as you can. I found, though, that sometimes it's more practical to have someone do certain things that are very difficult for you. And my husband, you'll see me cooking in the video, but my husband usually does most of the cooking because he can do it a lot faster. But I'm probably equally as fast cleaning up in the dishes as he is, and I enjoy doing that. So I think it's important to be able to do as much as you can to be independent when you're by yourself. And I can be by myself, which is really great. But I don't feel like I have to prove that I can do it all the time. And we all have to be practical. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in. I have my shirts adapted, many of them by my seamstress, short so that I don't have to tuck them in. I prefer to wear long sleeve shirts. So I think that the cosmesis of these arms is very good. I don't feel like I have a Joe Namath shoulder, which would have been very possible to get since I have a shoulder joint on this side instead of my natural shoulder. On this side I have my natural shoulder, but I think the cosmesis is pretty good, and I feel attractive and pretty normal wearing my artificial arms. I wear them to work, driving. I worked full-time for many years after my accident, but now I'm working half-time because I have a 2-year-old son, so I choose to stay home in the mornings with him and then work in the afternoons while he's taking a nap. The first thing I do when I come home from work or being out is to take my artificial arms off. So I don't feel that I need to have them on to feel like my former self. What I want to do is to be comfortable. And since they weigh about 7 pounds, it's as light as I think they could be for what they are. But generally at home I take them off and only put them on when I need to use them, such as for eating or washing my face, writing, those sorts of things that you'll see in the tape. Artificial arms are really at best pliers on the end of the stick. So they let me do a lot of things, but they're by no means like my real arms were, but they're extremely useful. I wouldn't dream of having anything other than hooks, being a bilateral amputee. I need the hook shape for practically everything that I do, and artificial hands, although they might make me pass for an able-bodied person on a busy bus or at a shopping center, would not make me be independent. So first thing I might recommend to amputees or prosthetists, if you lose both arms, by all means use hooks. What I'm going to do now is show you how I can get my shirt off. One thing I did is have the buttons sewn on the outside of the garment, my blouse, so that I can, and then snaps on the back. So if I came home now, it's not too suave the way I do things. And I'll just prepare you for the fact that you're not always being filmed, of course, when you do things, but you have to use a lot of body English. You have to contort yourself in various directions. You have to use your teeth. You have to use door handles, whatever you can. So that's just how you have to do things. So keep that in mind when you see me showing you how things are done. So I got my chin in under the first snap. By pulling off, my shirt is now unsnapped. I lock the arms by ways that I'll show you later. So now both the elbows are locked. I go down on the bed and I pull myself out. And that's it. That's how easy it would be for me to get my artificial arms off. If I had real buttons, I would have to wait for someone to come and unbutton me, and that would really make me dependent. So I'm able to stay completely by myself if I need to, if my husband's on a trip or something, with the exception of fastening up my shirt. Now to put the arms on, I would make sure that the socket here was exposed. I checked to make sure the straps weren't crossed or twisted. And then I just lie down, stick my stump of my shoulder in, and I stand up. And then I can just unlock the elbows, and I'm ready to go around the house. Now I want to just explain how the arms work and the different components. Remember, on this side I have about a 6-inch long stump on the left. Fortunately, I was left-handed before my accident, since I have nothing left on the right. So this is my dominant arm than it was before. To lock the elbow, I pull back on this neck strap. So it's a matter of moving my shoulder forward. It's a very subtle action. My arm comes forward, and my shoulder. My shoulder comes forward, my arm sort of goes back. So it's moving the strap. It can be done without a lot of exaggeration. So when the arm is unlocked, when the elbow is unlocked, it bounces naturally. I have some rubber bands on the inside of the arm that help me bend it up. It gets over the inertia. Those are changed maybe once every couple months. They're just regular rubber bands. And hooks, and I can really tell if one of the two breaks. It helps a lot. It just really gets the arm moving upwards. So this first strap then is how I lock and unlock the elbow. The thumb, this part of the arm, is attached to a cable that does a lot of different things. That's the cable that I bend by moving my arm forward. That's the cable that helps me bend the elbow, and I can lock it in one of, I think, about 16 different positions by pulling back on my shoulder. That cable is threaded through a stay at the elbow, and then it comes up across my back, attaches to a strap, and then anchors on this opposite side. When the arm is locked, or the elbow is locked, pulling on the cable by moving my arm forward or rounding my shoulders, which is what the action that shortens the cable, which is a fixed length, of course, so I use up some of the cable by doing that. It pulls open on the hook. So that's the same motion that's used to open the hook once the elbow is locked as to bend the elbow in the first place. Rubber bands keep the hook closed. So I pull against the rubber bands, and then left with slack, they close the hook down and enable me to hold things. And I guess I have 4 rubber bands. The other thing that I can do is I can hit a lever here, my side, which pulls a pin from a rotating wrist joint, wrist rotation down here. And when I give slack to the cable by not rounding my shoulders and pulling my arm forward, this wound spring causes the hook to rotate. If I subtly round my shoulders or move my arm forward, it pulls on the cable and it can pull it to an upright position. Wherever I want the hook to be, I simply hit this lock against my side, and that's where it stays. So if I want to pick up something vertical, like this, or these are my son's toys, something horizontal, I can pick it up like this. the movements are not very exaggerated. To open the hook, it's the same thing. I pull on the cable, it opens, I can do whatever I want that way. So I have the ability to rotate the wrist, and I also have the ability to flex the wrist. And normally there is a pin down here on the wrist that an able-bodied person, if you lost one arm, would reach over, hit this pin, and then it would cause the wrist flex in. Since I don't have that, Jim at Robin Aids has put in, since I don't have a good arm, he's made this a remote control with a nudge button, nudge control. So I hit this button, that pulls out, it's attached to a wire, goes through the arm, and then it unlocks the wrist flexion unit by pulling on this cable again that does so many things. If I pull on the cable, the wrist flexes in. If I push on the button and give it slack, give the cable slack, by, say, putting my shoulder blades together, there are rubber bands here which will pull the wrist back. There are 3 wrist positions of flexion. I use the middle one for eating, and I use the innermost one for wiping myself when I go to the bathroom, or getting at my waistband, or doing things close to my body. So I of course, can combine the wrist rotation by hitting this lever and the wrist flexion. So I can get a whole range of motions which sort of approximate what you can do with the wrist. So that's it on the side where I have about a 6-inch stump. My shoulder disarticulation side doesn't have those features because I don't have as much control. I can't reach out. This arm I can move all around. That's, the more stump you have, the more you can do. So many of those of you who are watching, when you see me do things and you have longer stumps, just realize that I'm showing you the minimum of what you should be able to do with the right equipment. On this side, I have a nudge control which locks the elbow. I don't have a strap since I can't move this like this. And then I also have a button which actuates an electric hook, the PA prehension actuator, I think, of Hosmer Dorrance. So this enables me to use this arm. Normally, I don't even lock it if I want to pick something up. I just leave my arm unlocked, and then I can have it in any position by just how I round my shoulders. So it's very helpful to be able to use this arm if I want to empty this hand, this hook, by passing something off. And since I don't use this side very frequently, the nickel-cadmium battery might last 3 months, and then I can charge it by just plugging it into the wall. And I can do the plug-in actually myself with my feet sitting on the floor next to the arms. I can stick the battery charger attachment into the inside of this arm where the battery stays. So that's what this side can do. I have my watch permanently screwed into my arm here, so that's very convenient. I'll show you the straps, but you can see how they crisscross. The cable from this hook, left hook, attaches to a strap on the right.